Alright, I think I just sent the link to I just shared the link on all my social media profiles. So before I talk anything, let me just introduce you to FavorKart. So yeah, this is Rahul SriRam, and I am a BTech final year student at GVP. And FavorKart is our final year main project, which is a e-commerce website, and we chose the MERN stack to build it, but not just the plain old MongoDB Express, React, and Node.js stack. But on the front end, we'll be using Next.js because I got pretty habituated to it using the what do you call file-based routing and all. So I thought maybe why not go for Next.js because it also have static site generation and incremental static generation and all of them, and we'll be using them in here. So we're a team of 4. So we discussed this beforehand, how to build and designs and all. But I just wanted to uh, live stream at whatever I'm going to build. So it'll be hands-on. Maybe I'll be having some bugs. I'll be writing some bugs while we go on, but I don't know how many of you will be watching it. But if at all anyone is, um, go through and post it in the comments so that maybe I can change it. All right. So yeah, coming to the design of what we chose and how we wanted to build this website, which, as I told you, we wanted to have a Next.js client. Next.js is a full stack server rendered and a static pages generation framework for React. And the component library that we'll be using will be charka-ui. And state management I did not choose yet, but I'm a big fan of Daishikato if anyone is familiar with him. So he is the king of microstate management, and I'll be maybe going with Valshio or Zustand, so I'm not sure. This is a logo of Zustand, but I put it there like a placeholder, but maybe I'll be going with Valshio. And for database fetching, again, I first thought of implementing a GraphQL server and using a GraphQL client like Apollo client or Oracle, but maybe I'll be going with React Query or SWR, mostly SWR because I'm sticking to the Vercel stack, like SWR, Next.js, edge functions, and Vercel deployment on Vercel and everything. So maybe I'll be going with SWR. And animations, I did not decide yet. I'll be implementing, but not in this stream, of course, in the later streams. And the front end app will be hosted on Vercel. All right. So the backend will be the Express Node.js API, and it will be connected to a MongoDB Atlas database. And MongoDB Atlas is a cloud database that is given by the MongoDB company itself. So I think I made a mistake here. It's not PrimaryDB, it's not PostgreSQL, it is MongoDB. And I had Postgres because I thought of having a Postgres instance on Google Cloud itself. So maybe I forgot changing that. And I'll be using Mongoose ORM to interact between Express and the MongoDB things. So let me pull on my comments. I don't know if anyone is watching it. I just wanted to try, just wanted to see if it is possible to stream stuff. So okay, now how do I pull? Let me check. Yeah. So where do I go? Displaying and selecting it. Okay, I thought I will be able to see all right, so oh, that's good. 6 people are watching. Thank you whoever is watching. And I think one comment. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. So let me continue. I pulled on my comments, so if anyone is commenting, I'll know right now. And yeah, so this is the stack that we chose, and For authentication, we'll be using Firebase. I chose Firebase because this Express and Node.js server will be hosted on G-Cloud, Google Cloud Platform, and I'll be using Cloud Run, which is a pretty new concept that they've introduced to host web servers, and it should be containerized. Hence, I had to include Docker. I didn't want to complicate it, but I had to include Docker, so I added Docker over there, and that will be hosted on Google Cloud Platform, and that, since I'm already having a Google Cloud project over there, I'll be uh, using Firebase, which is also a part of the Google Cloud Platform, and I'll be using the Firebase authentication provider. And using hooks, I'll be handling the client side authentication and all, but for authorization checks and all, I'll be writing custom middleware for using the Firebase admin SDK. And yeah, someone asked me why Mongo. Why Mongo? Because I want to be very genuine. I hate migrations. I did not know, none of my experiences with migrations went really well. So I just wanted to try having a NoSQL database this time. I initially planned to do this using Prisma and PlanetScale. PlanetScale is a pretty new MySQL solution, which provides a very big free tier for websites like this. But as I told you, Prisma, even I like Prisma so much, it has type definitions built in and all. But I didn't want to go to SQL databases this time because I don't think there'll be. I didn't want to complicate it. I did not have so much practice with migration, so a NoSQL database, I think that should do. I did not want to involve my migrations. That's all. I should have gone to Firebase Firestore too, but I don't know. Maybe I just stuck with Mongo. That's all. And coming to file storage, because at the end of the day it is a e-commerce website. The file storage will also be handled on the same project where the Node.js server is hosted, and also authentication is handled. We'll be using Firebase storage for that, and the front-end app will be interacting with that using hooks again. And as a secondary database, excluding MongoDB, I'll be having cart and wishlist, and I can implement cart and wishlist in local storage and all, but that won't be having compatibility between multiple browsers or multiple devices. So I thought, why not use Firebase Firestore, because it's pretty lightweight and it is having an amazing free tier. So for a main project, for a college level project, I think that should do. I'll be having cart and wishlist synced in with Firestore, and again I'll be using hooks to interact with them. And finally, the payments will be, I am pretty familiar with Stripe. I have handled many payments with Stripe, but I don't know how to use Razorpay, and their docs suck. Like, they suck a lot. I don't know who is maintaining those docs for Razorpay. I did not even understand how to use that SDKs and all, but maybe that will be in the later part of the streams, maybe in the 5th or the 6th stream. So yeah, that's it. So I'll be having an API key maybe after production, after putting this on Google Cloud API gateway. With that API key itself, I can just handle Express requests and all. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it, right? So the payment ID will be saved in the database, and even whenever a new user is created on the client, the UID, which is the Firebase unique ID, that will be even saved in the user database, user model of the MongoDB database. All right. So I did not plan to do so much in this stream, but maybe I'll be going with, this is the outline of the stream that I plan to. So I just gave you the overview of FavorKart. So FavorKart is an e-commerce website, and if anyone is not familiar, and if anyone is familiar with BioLink, this is my brother's BioLink, by the way. He's an artist, and if you just remember this, I am the Rakil, go check out his art. You can check him out too, I don't mind. Yeah, so this is a static page that will be created when a person creates their account, and it is pre-rendered. It is not having a client-side rendering or server-side rendering. It is just pre-rendered. That means the page, the assets inside it, and no database requests on every page load. There is no data fetching for these on the database and then creating the HTML page and painting it on the DOM. Nothing like that is happening. Just a plain old already filled in pre-rendered, that is built, that is rendered on the build time, will be given to us, and we'll be rendering it on the screen. So that is known as static site generation, and I chose Next.js because it provides static site generation. And yeah, imagine this is the same page that you'll be seeing in FavorKart, and but except for the links over here, you'll be seeing e-commerce products. Okay, so the vendors can create their static pages like this and can upload products in a form, and all their products will be shown like this. I chose to have a similar design like this, and they can just share the link from the top over here, so that I just didn't want to have a index page or like a normal home page and a search bar in it, and people go there and they search for products, and based on that they'll be seeing the vendors. No, FavorKart is a vendor specific website. That means you should already know from whom you're buying, and are they legit or not and all. So, and they share their links with you, and in that link, in that website, you purchase the items. It's not like you want to purchase the item and then you find the vendor. You already know the vendor and you'll be purchasing items from him. Okay, so it is a vendor specific website. So that is the base behind FavorKart. And yeah, today I'll be covering basic Express API setup, and I'll be having MongoDB Atlas, and I'll be having Next.js app setup. I just didn't want to go with Express API all along in the same video. I'll be having Next.js app too, and I'll be setting up charka-ui and Firebase too, and some models for product, order, review, and user. And controllers, I don't know if I'll be completing them today, but obviously I'll be having custom error handling middleware for Express API. And yeah, I'll be having formatting, linting, design patterns, VS Code usage, Git, custom hooks for everything that I choose to do, and having multiple environments on the front end app. And yeah, I'll be dealing with all of them, and I'll try to have the best practices enforced in it. But as someone's told, best practices are a myth, and I don't know if you believe in that. All right. Okay. I'm on a Mac. You can follow this on any operating system. You can just do it on anything. So yeah, let me just hop onto my desktop, and I think I don't have anything over here. So yeah, I don't want to use the shell commands because some people might not know how to use that and make it confused. So let me create a directory. All right, so I'll be starting with the API. Okay, so it's api.favorkart.com. all right, and I'll be opening that on Visual Studio Code. Again, you can, oh boy, that sucks. Okay, I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to open api.favorkart.com. all right, cool, we have this. So since it's a Node.js web server, you should have Node.js installed. I'm having Node.js 16 installed. If you have Node.js installed, you'll be having npm, which is Node Package Manager, given to you already. But I'll be using yarn for this. All right, so I can just go with yarn init or npm init and y over there, because I just wanted to make this what do you call that, an npm package. And I'll be shifting the license to MIT, and I'll just generate a license. And I think this generate license command came from some extensions. All right, so I can check for license here, and maybe I'll find it. Okay, or maybe not, I don't know. Maybe it's a feature of VS Code. Yeah, that's it. And I will be adding some packages. All right, so they are Express, and Express is the web server, and not just plain old .env. I'll be having .env safe for safety purposes, and Mongoose is our object relational mapper that I'll be using to make connections with our MongoDB database, and also for creating database models, which is the collections in what we call in Mongoose. So Mongoose is a NoSQL database. It is very similar to a SQL database, or I don't know if I can say that, but yeah, we have instead of tables inside a SQL database, in NoSQL databases, we have collections. And instead of rows in a SQL database, we have documents. All right. So Mongoose is To be precise, it's not an ORM, it's a ODM. It is a object document mapper, because in a NoSQL database there are no rows, there are documents. So yeah, Mongoose is also used to make connections. We don't need to have the plain MongoDB SDK installed in this website. And cross-env, because I'll be having multiple environments. I don't want cookie parser, I don't want Argon 2, I don't want JSON web tokens. Yeah, so these are the only things that I'll be having. All right, so and yarn add or npm install, we can install the dependencies. These are third-party packages that we can use in our website. And as development dependencies, by development dependencies I mean only the dependencies that I'll be using in the dev mode, not in production. So for that I use this -d command over here. I have prettier, and I don't want ESLint config prettier, I want ESLint, and I think I'll have nodemon and morgan too. Nodemon is to rerun and recreate the server on every change in the file system over here, because the plain old nodejs server won't do that, and we will need nodemon. People call it nodemon and all that bullshit, I don't know. And morgan is a logger. I just want my website to log, my server to log whatever requests it is getting. All right, so yeah, that is it. Let me create a index.js file. All right, and if you're familiar with nodejs, the normal pattern to create servers is, or any nodejs applications, is use the CommonJS syntax, which is like this, require syntax and all that. But I am not a very big fan of that, so I'll be shifting this type to module instead of CommonJS. If I do module over there, I can use the ES6 import syntax instead of the CommonJS require syntax and all. All right, so I can have express, and that is GitHub Copilot, by the way, if you're not familiar how I'm getting those hinting in VS Code and all. All right, so I created a basic express app, and I will listen for requests in there. Yeah, that's good, thank you. And yeah, I think I've already installed Prettier, so let me just come here and generate an editor config. And I think editor config, this pretty sure is coming from VS Code. Yeah, you see that editor config for VS Code. If you have that extension installed, I can come here, I can right click, and I can click on generate editor config. And yeah, this is the config that I'll be having. And let me also generate a prettier configuration file, and this will be inside the api.favorkart.com, and here. So I want it to look as minimal as possible, so I'll avoid the arrow parentheses, and the trailing comma I want on every level, because trust me, it sucks to not have trailing commas everywhere. And semicolons, I don't know, let me take them off. All right, I just hate. And single attribute per line true, and JSX single quote true. And what more do we have here, right? Require pragma, I don't know, never used all this stuff. Yeah, maybe that's it, you know, never mind. Okay, now I have single quotes, and I have no semicolons. All right, and let me just create a .vs code /settings .json file, because I hate the letter spacing that comes by default with JetBrains Mono. And yeah, I'll just increase the font size maybe. All right, so that is good, that is good. Okay, so let me initialize a git repository in here. All right, and again, I think there is a VS Code extension for git ignore. Okay, you can just search for that, and I'll open my command palette, and I'll use that add git ignore command, and I'll press node over here so that it will create a nodejs specific gitignore file for me, and I'll add .vs code to that because I don't want people having that in there. And what do we have here? Maybe no. I don't remember. What is it command that I did for? Okay, whatever. I don't care. And yeah, let me create a .env file. Okay, so .env files are used to have environment variables, and the port that I'll be running this on is 4001. All right, so I'll be having a utils constants .js file. All right, and to have access to all the variables that I have inside the .env file, I'll have to import that .env safe package, and I'll call the config method on that with no parameters. You can have parameters if the .env file is not in the same directory as your index.js file, and you can name this file index.js or anything, but it should be given in the main of the package.json. All right, so that's the convention. And now I can export all the variables like port using the process.env.port and this syntax. All right, so process is the nodejs process global, and we'll be having another object inside called env. By that we can have access to all the environment variables, and I'm accessing the port environment variable, and I have that in here. And since we won't push this to GitHub, .env would have accepted this, but since we are having .env safe, I should have an example .env file too, which will be pushed to GitHub. I won't be specifying any values over here, but I'll be giving these in here, so that the .env safe package, when we are running this in the development mode, it will check if I'm having the same name in here or not, and if I'm not, it will crash the server. So that way people who are trying to contribute to this project, when I push it to GitHub and all, when they clone it, they'll know what environment variables they'll have to add and all using this example file. All right, yeah, that's it. That's good. So I'll be having many how do I say environment variables that I want to have that I want to access in here. So maybe I just won't export them individually like this, but I'll use object destructuring, and from the process.env object, I'll be destructuring the port environment variable along with nodeenv. All right, so nodeenv is also a predefined environment variable that chips in with nodejs, so I can use that. So instead of hard coding triple T over here, I can have port. And the issue with having this type module in this package.json is that I can't just use utils constants. I'll have to have the .js extension over there. All right, so here I'll be having port. Okay, so maybe I just don't want to have it like that. I think I'll have server up and running in node env mode, which will be either development or production, and is listening for requests at http : 127.0.0.1 port. That's cool. That is cool. So server up and running in development mode if we are running in development, and is listening for requests at this URL. Yeah, so yeah, that's it. We have it. Now where do you think I am setting this node env environment variable? I am setting it over here in the port. I can have it in here too for development like this. All right, so in VS Code I have this npm scripts showing over here. If you can't see that, you can come here and type npm start or whatever script that you want to name. So I'll be changing this to dev, and in the development mode, as I told you, the normal way to run that index.js file is like running any other node.js file, is by having node index.js, right? But I'll be using nodemon, and since I'm already declaring the main as index.js, I don't even need to do that. I just can specify nodemon and it'll know. And for start, I'll be using the plain node because I don't want my server restarting every time there is a file change, because there will be no file changes. I don't want to run nodemon on production environments. And now both the scripts will be running in development mode because I hard coded that value over here, node env equals to development. All right, and we don't want to do that because I want, according to the script, the environment variable to change, and that is where cross env comes into play. All right, so cross env is a very excellent package. I can set environment variables on the go over here, and they can be accessed from our nodejs process global. All right, so that is possible. I'll have production here, and that's it. Now I don't need to have node env equals to development on here, and that's good. So okay, coming to scripts, I have dev over here. I can just run it or debug it. Of course I'll be running it, and let us see. Server up and running in development mode and is listening for requests at http. Boom. And I think that opened on another window. I'll just pull it over here. Where are you? Hi. Yeah, of course we are getting a cannot get thing over there, but that's fine. Now let us, I don't think I have any more comments. That's cool. Let us shift to MongoDB. All right, so I'll be creating a connectdb function over here. All right, export default async function connectdb. Okay, that's cool. So I'll have a try catch block over here, and I'll just okay, that's it. And if the connection is failing, I'll be exiting from the nodejs process. That will kill the terminal, that will kill the server. All right, now, so how do I establish that connection? Mongoose enables us to have that by default. I can have the connect function that Mongoose provides us, and I can have my Mongo URI over there, you know, and I'll have my options in there, and I don't need a callback because I'm using async await over here, right? And you might be thinking, why isn't he using a connect function like this? But again, that's another backlog of using that type equals to module in here. So I have to use import the whole module and access the methods like this. All right, so use new URL parser and use unified topology. I think those are the things that I want, and I will be logging MongoDB connected to con.connection. Okay, and from where am I getting my MongoDB URI? I'll be getting that from here. All right, and to have that over here, I should specify it. For example, let us say that is the URL. That isn't, but let us say that is. And since it's an example file, I should have that. Okay, cool, that's good. Now let me import this MongoDB URI, and as I told you, you should have file extensions, the .js thing over there, and con.connection.name. So MongoDB connected. That's great. Now this is an async function, and I'll have to call it in the index.js before creating the server. But before doing that, it is going to crash if I do that, because I should have MongoDB running, and I'll be going through with MongoDB Atlas over here. All right, so I can come to MongoDB Atlas. I think I already am logged in, but I'll be doing it with my college domain mail ID, because this is yeah, what's wrong with you? Because this is a college main project, I'll be logging in with MongoDB. Yeah, 18131, that's my ID number. I don't have any projects, and this is my organization name. I'll be adding my friends in there too. Now coming to new project, I'll name it FavorKart, and next, and yeah, I'm a project owner, create project. It'll take a couple of minutes to have it up and running, but that's fine. Yeah, so I'll have to build a database. Of course, I'll be choosing the shared database, because this is just for testing. If your dad is rich, we can just go with $6 per hour. No way. All right, so yeah, Mumbai, AWS, and maybe I can go with Google Cloud over there too, but at the end of the day, it's not my Google Cloud project, so it doesn't matter. All right, so I'll name this FavorKart cluster. That's great. And create cluster. Okay, so the cluster is in MongoDB is like some group of databases that can be created under the same organization in a project, so that they can have interactions and generate APIs based on those interactive databases. All right, so the name will be Rahul, and password I'll just generate it and copy it and go to VS Code, and in the env file I'll just paste it over there. That is the password. Please do remember it, because I will forget, and I will press create user. All right, yeah, that is created. That's great. Now I want to connect in and for MongoDB to whitelist our access list API, I'll add my current API, because this current IP address, because this IP address is exactly what will be which is the server that this Express server will be accessing the MongoDB server. I can also have go to network access page and enable all IP addresses to access it, but I don't think that is safe. I'll just add my current IP address. Okay, and on my local environment, I can just finish and close. Yeah, go to databases. I think the project is still creating. Yeah, it is still creating. I can come to database access. All right, so yeah, this is the name, and how do I connect to it? Right, I'll get the connect. This button will be enabled when the cluster is created, so it will take, as I told, 1 to 3 minutes. In the meantime, I think I'll come to VS Code, and do I have any comments? Everyone who's watching, can I just get a hi at least, because I'll know the people who are watching, right? Okay, so that is the password. So if anyone missed till now, I just created an Express app, and I'm using the ES6 syntax for imports. I'm having this utils constants thing over here, and to access the environment variables, I'm using .env safe. I'm using .env safe because .env file won't be pushed to Git, and I want .env example to be available to people and have a look at what are all the environment variables that they need to create, okay, if they want to contribute. And the config method should be called before accessing any of these. You can't just do it like this. You won't have access to any environment variables. And yeah, wait until it's done for connect. That's why I asked for Mongo. Yeah, I mean, can't help. Okay, there you go. I have connect, and I'll be connecting my application and nodejs, and I'll copy the code. All right, so I'll come here, I'll go to my .env file and paste it in there, and this is the password. Okay, that's great. And database, I suck at variable naming, and you'll know why after looking at this. Okay, so this is my connection string, MongoDB URI, and maybe it'll break, I don't know. All right, so I'll have to await and call connectdb, and I'll have to import that. And as I told you, since I'm using CommonJS import module, I'll have to include connectdb.js over there. Okay, so that's cool. If you observe, I did not have async function wrapped around this await keyword because nodejs 16, that is the version that I'm using. If you want to check, I can come here. I'll have node-v, that is nodejs 16. It has top level await already shipped in as a feature, so I don't need to have an asynchronous fee and all that bullshit. I can just have the connection made, and if that connection is not made due to any other reasons, then obviously we'll come here and the process will exit and the express app won't even be created. All right, so I wanted to have that below that. All right, that's cool. Now if I open the terminal, you can see MongoDB connected, FavorKart DB, and the server up and running in development mode, and we are ready for requests. That's good. Now before having all this, I just want to have some middleware done. I'll be using express.json. JSON is a exposed middleware because I'll be getting JSON body tags from the React client, and I'll have to parse them, and to parse them I'll have to use JSON middleware. And I don't remember if I added course as a dependency. Yeah, I didn't, so I'll just add course as a dependency. So course is cross origin I forgot what the hell, cross origin resource sharing. Yeah, I forgot cross origin resource sharing, I think. Yeah, so since the front-end app will be making requests from another IP address and from another port, it should have access to the resources inside this server. And to have access to that, app.use is the express way of having middleware. So I'll be having course in here. Okay, so I'll have to import course for that. It's great. I have course, and I can specify some options for course. Okay, so the origin, I don't want everything. I'll just have it for localhost 3000 because that is what our nextjs front-end app will run on. And credentials to true because I'll be setting some cookies and all, so I'll be needing credentials to true. All right, so I have course 2. Right now in the constants file, I want to export another constant called isDev, and it will just check for the node environment is equals to development or not. And since I want my Morgan logger to run only in development mode, I'll have app.use Morgan in the dev mode, and I'll have to import Morgan. That is cool, right? I have Morgan and I'm instantiating it in the dev mode, and it only is a development dependency, and hence I can only use when it is in development mode. All right, now coming to, sure, I think middleware are completed. Okay, so it's time for having, hey, hi, hello, thank you for joining. I'm so sorry if I'm having a lot of noise. I think some work is going on in the top floor. All right, So let us come to the most important part, the database models. So you can see I'm following the MVC pattern over here. So MVC stands for model view controller. Models are just some similarly JavaScript uh, object kind of JavaScript objects which Mongoose enables us to write. So we can use them and make our database queries and all. And we can also define the schema of our documents in MongoDB. So that is where models will go. This is not specific to MongoDB. You can also have your SQL files in models, or any SQLize or TypeORM or Prisma models in here. So that stands for M. In MVC, that stands for M. And in V, this is not the MVC pattern, because V stands for HTML templates that we need to send from the server. I don't have HTML templates here. I have controllers which will be sending in JSON, because the front end, the nextjs client and the Express API will be contacting in form of JSON itself. So the controllers will be returning JSON. And we have C again, yeah, the C stands for that. And I'll be having routing using the Express router, and it will be handling all the routes for me. All right. So now coming to database models. I think I'll just start with the user model. All right. So coming models, and I'll just create a user.model.js. You can name it however the hell you want to, it doesn't matter. All right. So I'll have to first create a schema. Okay. And that is using the new mongoose.schema method. And what do I have? I have a username. Okay. It will be of the type string, and it will be required to true. That's great. And I don't want to save passwords in here because I don't actually need them. All right. I have email. Of course, email is required true, and it is lowercase because all emails are lowercase, and it is unique too because that is the primary key that I'll be following. Not username. Username can be anything. It's just a display name. And I have phone number. All right. Phone number will also be of the type string, and it will be required true because it is related to payments and all. I need to have it required. And the role, because as I told you, it will be having role based access control, RBAC. There will be multiple roles. One for the normal customer that is going to okay, so it will be customer. That is a normal customer for the FavorKart website. Another is the admin. Admin is people like me who are going to maintain the website. And another role is vendor. Vendor is the vendor who just want to sell the stuff on this website. All right. Along with these, since I'm using Firebase as the authentication provider, I'll be having Firebase UID too. It will be of the type string, and it will be required true, and of course it will be unique true. All right. And I just want to have the timestamps enabled to true, because timestamps I don't know, I think I messed up somewhere. Oh yeah, sorry, here timestamps true. Okay, so timestamps just enables us to have the created it and the updated it, both of them defined. All right. So this is the schema. All right. So this is the schema, and let me import Mongoose before I forget. But how do I create a database model based on this? All right. So I can create a Mongoose model called user. The mongoose.model is a method. It will take the name of the model that you want to name it as the first parameter, and the mongoose schema as a second parameter. Hence, mongoose.model user is the name that I want to give, and the user schema is the schema that I defined over here. All right. So this is the user schema. It will obviously be changing in the future as I it'll be growing exponentially as we go through it. Do I have any more comments? Let me just check, because no, I don't. Oh, god damn it. Damn you, Carpenter. I hate you. Next, let me have product.model.js. Alright. I'll just go here, copy all this and paste it in here. And I'll just rename it everywhere to product schema. Alright. And I'll call this product. Now, here we'll be having the name of the product, which will be of the type string, and it will be required true. And we'll be having the description of the product. It will be of the type string, and it will be required, and it will be having a min length of 20 at least. I don't want that to happen. And you know what, I'll just freaking get rid of all this. I have the primary image. So the primary image, I'll be hosting my images on Firebase storage. I'll be using hooks from the nextjs application to upload images. They'll be directly uploaded to the server. That's for the Firebase storage server. It will nowhere be accessed through this Express API, but the URL string of those will be sent back to the Express API, and the string will be stored in the primary image type. Alright, so that is how we handle that. And why no, yeah, required true, that's all, that's it. And obviously it's an e-commerce website, you will need multiple images, so it will be of the type string. Alright, but these are not required true. You don't need to have multiple images. You just need the primary image, and that will be the required field. Alright, now we have price, right? So the price is the type of a number. It is required true, and I'll have default 0. I know that sucks, right? I just don't want to have default 0 over there, but I'll tell you why I have added that in there. Okay, so I'll have count in stock. Okay, it will be of the type of number, required true, and default 0. Okay, and approved, because I don't want people uploading whatever products they want to, even if they are the vendors that I have approved. Alright, so I'll be having an approved flag, and only those products will be available to the end users, or else they'll be in the draft mode. Okay, so default will be false. It is a required field. Since we are already having a default, it doesn't matter if it is required or not, but yeah, for demonstration purposes I just gonna add that. And what fields am I missing? Right, I think I am missing the vendor. Who's the vendor? Right, here is where you feel like using SQL databases, because you'll be having primary keys and foreign keys and one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one relationships and all. But MongoDB does that pretty well too. I'll have mongoose.schema.types.objectId, because every one of these schemas will be having an underscore ID field auto generated. That is why I did not have a ID field in the Mongo schema, because MongoDB by default provides us with an underscore ID field, which is the object ID, and that the vendor will be having a link to that, and the ref of that will be the user model that we just created. Okay, and obviously it is required to true. So we have the vendor, we have the name, we have description, and primary image, and images, and price, count in stock, and approved. And I almost forgot the ratings. Alright, so I have average rating over there, and it will be of the type of number, it will be required true, and default 0. GitHub Copilot, what's wrong with you? And number of reviews too. Type number, and required true, and default 0. Okay, so this is the product model. All right, so what are the other models that we want to take a look at? So before going to the other models, I just want to check if I have any comments. Nope. That's great. Okay, I will maybe go to the review model first because it's very tiny. Sorry. Review.model.js. I'll have my user model copy pasted over here. Every review will be having a rating, obviously. All right, so it will be of the type number. It is required true, and default will be 5 because I want my customers happy. I'll be having a min of 0. Yeah, in FavorKart you can give 0 as the rating. All right, you don't need to yell at me for that. And they can have an optional comment too. Okay, so it is required false, no lowercase, no unique, no bullshit. And comment. And what is the product, right? The product is the mongoose.schema object ID that is related to the product model that we have just created. All right, and who's the customer that is commenting, right? So here you have two one-to-one relations. So every review will be having two one-to-one relations. One relation will be with the product that upon which we want the review to be established on, and the person who is the customer who is reviewing it. All right, so I'm having two one-to-one relations over here. That's it. I think I'll have to name it review and this as review schema. All right, that's good. Now, as far as FavorKart is concerned, I have only 4 models decided as of now, but in the future I'll be having more. All right, so I think this is the biggest of all, or maybe not, I'm not sure. Okay, so I'll just start with this smaller one, copy, paste it over here, rename this to order model, order schema, and rename this to order. That's great. Okay, now what are all the things that we'll be having in order? Okay, first of all, we'll be having the customer who ordered that, right? So it'll be a mongoose schema.types.object to the user model, and we'll have the order items because there can be multiple order items, right? So it will be an array of objects, and all of them will have the product in them, which is the type of product. It is required true, obviously. And I also want to know the quantity of all of them because the default is, whoa bro, what the hell did I do here? Default is 1, obviously. Why would they add it in the cart if it is 0, right? So yeah, order items are just line items. So we have product and quantity. Each product, for example, let us say the product is Apple Watch and the quantity is 1 by default. For example, we say the product is MacBook and the quantity is 2. That, so like this, an array of order items. So all of these order items can be ordered in the same order. All right, so we are done with order items. Now I have shipping address. Oh boy, shipping address type string. No. I'll have address of the type of string, and it will be required true. I'll also have the city of the type of string and required true, and I'll have postal code of type of string required true, and I think I need to have state too. In the future I'll be having the option to make this an enum, alright, so that I can provide a drop down, and out of only those options you can select, because out of nowhere there won't be new states popping up, right? So I have the postal code too, and the country at the end of the day. We have the country. Alright, so this is the shipping address, and what do we have? We have the payment method. Okay, so the payment method is a string and it is required true. That is all I can think of. Okay, even there I'll be having it in enum, because it might be using UPI or Razorpay's UPI in specific, or a credit card using Stripe, or if at all I'm going to scale this to having multiple payment gateways and having a custom checkout page that I'm going to build in Next.js, maybe for that. And what is the tax price? Because obviously we'll be having a tax. The type is number, required is true, and the default is a floating point number. Alright, and the shipping price, the very same thing. The default is a floating point number. And again I want to have a flag called isPaid, and I'm going to use Vercel functions or Firebase serverless functions to toggle this isPaid stuff upon the order received by the customer. Okay, so I'll be having the type boolean, the required to true, and the default is false, because just as you made the order it doesn't mean it is paid, right? So the similar flag will be going to paid at. I just want this to be a date, so the type of date, that's all. Okay, and is it delivered? Okay, so is delivered is again the same field as is paid, because as soon as you make the order, it doesn't mean that your order is delivered, right? So it'll take time, and to track that and to toggle the UI of the end user that your order is delivered or it is still pending and all that, I'll be having a boolean over here. Okay, so did I miss anything? Let me check. I have the customer, I have order items, I have shipping address, I have payment. Oh boy. Yeah, I made a mistake over there. So shipping address will only have until the country, and after that they come in here. Yeah, I think that fixes that. Okay, so we have the shipping address, we have address, city, state, postal code, and country. If we have the payment method, it will be again an enum, tax price, and the shipping price. Obviously both of these will be added, and I have an isPaid boolean and the paid at date, and the isDelivered boolean and the delivered at date. All right, so I think I'm done with all the 4 models that I just wanted to create. All right, so let me go to check if I have any comments. I don't think I do. Okay, I do have all of them, and let me come to routes and create the user dot routes dot js. All right, so I'll be having express in here, and the router, express.router, and I can use this router to have methods. All right, so I have router.get and router.post and all. The user routes are completely different from the auth routes. So auth routes are completely different from the user routes. Auth routes are nowhere related to this server. They are just directly in contact using hooks on the Firebase in the front end. So I have router equals to express.router, and I'll have some controllers folder too, so that in the controllers I can have user.controller.js, right? So let us say we have get all users function, okay, that is having request and response enabled, and it is going to have the user.find, and it is just going to return. Obviously I'm not going to do it this way. I'll be having error handling and a lot of that, but let me go to models and user.model.js, and he's called user. Okay, I think I'll need to charge it, so charge my laptop. 1 minute. That's great. I love MagSafe chargers. Okay, so yeah, that's it. We have the user.find, and we can have access to all users over here. Okay, so what does this router do? All right, so we can have the router, and we can use get to slash, and I'll have the get all users function over there as a callback. Because router.get is like any other Express.js route, the parameters to this function will be request and response, and those will be forwarded over here. Okay, so these are the controller functions, and I'll be mapping them to the routers over here. I can just add another get over here, and yeah, I can do all that stuff. Okay, and where do I use this router? Right, so in the index.js file, I'll have to use it as middleware app.use, and I have user routes. Okay, and I'm going to import from routes user routes.js and call that user routes. Okay, so I'm going to call it like that, and of course I broke it, and I have an error. Why do I have an error? Oh yeah, of course, because as I told you, I should have .js over there. Okay, and I'm going to slice this in the users thing. So I have /API/users, and whatever the route is here, that will be continuing from the index.js over here, and this functionality will be going to here. Okay, so let us check if all this is working or not. Okay, so let me go to Thunder Client, make a new request. Thunder Client is another it's like Postman, but it's a VS Code extension. Okay, so I have 127.0.0.1/401/API/users. Okay, so it's a get request, and I don't have any other users, so I'm getting an empty array. So I think it is working. That's good. Okay. So let me check if anyone is watching. And oh boy, long time no see, Akshat. Hi, hello. Okay, so what do you say? Should I continue with writing the controllers, or should I start the Next.js application? And I think it's been an hour. I'll be streaming for another hour maybe. So should I go with the Next.js application, Firebase, and all that stuff, or should I just start writing controllers, the user controllers, and all of that? So the nation wants to know. And you can see Morgan being logging that /API/users and the status code and the type of request that is made. So that is why I added it in the development mode in here, the dev mode over here. And all right, you know what? I just go with creating the Next.js application. I'll hold it over here, and I'll come prepared with all the routes and all the controllers in the next stream. So as of now, I'll just create a simple charka-ui Next.js application, and I'll close this window, api.favorkart.com, and of course this one too. That will be useful in the future. Okay, now let me see what do I have over here. I have the api.favorkart.com. Now let me create npx okay, not npx, I'll just use yarn. Okay, yarn create next app, and I'll name it FavorKart client. Oh boy, what did I do there? Oh, suck. Yeah, yarn create next app FavorKart client, and that will just create a Next.js application for us. All right. Next.js, as I've mentioned, it is a full stack React framework. It is having file-based routing installed in it, and I'll open FavorKart client in VS Code. That is beautiful. Okay, so before doing anything, I just want to run Next.js and show it to you how it's going to look. Yeah, obviously not that. Yeah, so this is it. Okay, so this is how our Next.js website is going to look. Akshit will meet soon. We will, of course, for sure. All right, so let me just go grab charka-ui, get started, and here they have the framework guide. I'm in Next.js. I'm just going to copy this commands over here, come to VS Code, paste them in here. Oh boy. Okay, you know what? I think I'll have strings around these. Of course it is working. Yeah. Okay, so meanwhile, as that is going to work, I'll need chakra provider, and that should be going in the underscore app.js file. And the theme, oh boy, the theme, this looks good. Trust me, it does. So I'll have utils theme.js file. All right, and I'll have the brand color to be the default theme that charka-ui ships in with. Okay, so I'm just going to import that charka-ui React. I have theme. I'll name it as default theme. Okay, so the default theme has colors, and I think I'll go with teal. All right, you may hate this for me, but I don't care. And I'll have the colors, and I'll just name my color as brand. And I have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. This is just charka-ui convention of creating colors. Okay, I have a background type called 52. Okay, then comes the fonts. Like any other college developer, I'll be using Poppins as my font, and I'll have default theme dot fonts dot heading, because that is an array, and those will be spread. And for the body too, I'll be having Poppins. All right, so and also I don't have multiple themes inside this website, so the initial color mode will be light, and use system color mode will be false, because I won't be creating this for multiple themes. Okay, I have extend theme that ships in from charka-ui. All right, so under extend theme, I'll have whatever I have created till now. I have colors, I have fonts, I have config, and I also need to have some more. And I'll be shipping this by using the with default color scheme, and the color scheme name is brand. Okay, so that will be the default color scheme of everything, because charka-ui will be having a different color scheme other than teal. It is having some bluish kind of shade, and I'm going to shift that. Okay, and settings.js, letter spacing 0.75. Thank you. I just hate that much letter spacing. And in the git ignore, I'll add VS Code. All right, what else do we have? Actually, I'll just copy and paste some stuff from a previous project that I've been working on charka-ui, so I'll be having them in here. Components. So the components is nothing but overriding the components that charka-ui by default provides us with. It provides us links, buttons, and icon buttons, and they all have this weird box shadow, and I hate that box shadow. So I'm going to force that box shadow to none, and I'll be including that in the theme. All right, and now I can export the theme. All right, that's good. Norms first. Let me create a prettier config file in the FavorKart client website. I have arrow parenthesis, avoid, semi-false, trailing comma all, single quote true, JSX single quote true. JSX is what we use in React, right? So single attribute per line true, and what do I have? Bracket same line false. Yeah, I think that pretty much should do it. Pretty much, pun intended. uh, okay, so let me have this chakra provider thing around my uh, app.js. So the file-based routing system will be having a pages directory, and the index.js is the uh, home page, and the underscore app.js is the root that enables us to have multiple pages in the page props and everything. So I'm having chakra provider in there, and I'll use the reset, uh, and I'll have the theme set to the utils.theme that I've given. Okay, and I'll just have the js config file because I don't want to have nested imports and all that. So I'll have, if you're pretty familiar with TypeScript, this should sound familiar. jsconfig.json is very similar to tsconfig.json, and I'm going to provide the base URL as dot. That means this directory, the FavorKart client directory, and all the paths inside slash inside the tilde will be accessible from here. Okay, so instead of having this, I can now do this. However nested it is, since utils is the directory that is available in the root folder, I can just use tilde and utils.theme, or even styles over there. I obviously don't want to have styles. I'll just go ahead and delete styles too. I just don't think I need them. Okay, no head, no this, and let me clear all the gibberish that they gave us. I don't want all that. Just go with a simple plain old charka-ui heading. I'm going to import it, and let us say hello there, like Obi-Wan. The show is going to stream soon, right? All right. Okay. Where am I? Utils theme. Interesting. Why don't we have that? Okay, I think I need to restart my server if I am having js config in there. I think, I don't know, I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, so that is the charka-ui heading that we get. Okay, and what else? What else? So let me just have some basics like generate the license and come to package.json, have the license field to MIT. All right, and we'll have the editor config given to us. Okay, and what else do we have? We have a prop called reset CSS, and I'm just going to add that too. That will just reset all the CSS that is available. All right, yeah, I think that's cool. So let me add all the libraries that I'll be using in this stream or in the future. Okay, I'll be using SWR, and since I'm using React 18, which I think should come by default, yeah, React 18 and nextjs 12.1. These have amazing features like error boundary, suspense, and concurrent rendering, use transition hooks, and all of them. So I'll be using all of them. And for icons, I'll be using React icons. And what are the other libraries that I'm going to use? For forms, I have React hook form. Okay, so React hook form is a hook API based forms that we can use for creating very good forms in React websites. And then we have JS cookie, because I'll be storing the Firebase ID token that they're going to provide us in a cookie. We can use the getID token method from the Firebase SDK, but that is an async operation, and whenever I just want to perform access the token, I just don't want to have it wrapped in an async operation. It just sucks. So I'll be storing it in a cookie myself, and I'll be using it. Okay, I'll be adding Firebase in a moment. Okay, so these are the libraries that I'll be using, and that's good, right? So what are all the directories that we need to have in the Next.js website? The pages is the file-based routing. The slash API will be having the API routes. Okay, so you can go to, for example, here slash API slash hello, and you'll see name John Doe, because that is what that API route is returning, right? So it's just beautiful. Let me check if I have any comments. Do I? Nope, I don't. That's great. Now we have 3 SDKs for Firebase. Okay, one is just Firebase, that is the client SDK that I'll be using in the Next.js client. Another is the Firebase admin SDK, that is admin SDK that can be only used in the nodejs environments. We can use it in API routes like this, or in get static props or get server side props of Next.js, but I'm not going to use it in here. I'm going to use it in the Express server that we have just created. And we have another CLI tool called Firebase tools. Okay, so this is a CLI tool. Great, right? So before creating anything, I'll just come here and go to Firebase. Okay, so firebase.google.com. I'll just create a Firebase project for this. I'll just log in with my domain mail ID. That's great. And I'll go to console. And do I have any projects? Oh boy, I have some projects. I don't even know when I created these projects. So I'll be just creating a new project right now, and I'll call this FavorKart. Okay. Okay, that's new. I don't want analytics. I'll be creating the project. It'll just create in 30 seconds or so. Come on. Do it. Yeah, continue. Okay, so we have it. Now the same Firebase project can be used by multiple clients. It can be a web or Android app or iOS app. So I'll just create a web app for this. Okay, and I'll name it FavorKart Next.js client. I don't want to set up Firebase hosting because I'll be using Vercel for hosting. I'll just register the app, and obviously I'll have to install Firebase. So let me come here, create a new terminal, and let me add Firebase as a dependency. All right, so that is going to add Firebase as a dependency. And since Firebase is an external library, all that code will be going into a lib folder and a Firebase folder and a Firebase file. All right, so there is this weird concept of initializing the Firebase app, and I just need to copy and paste these stuff. I can do this from here too, or from other. I'll show you how to do it later. Okay, I'll just go to the console. Now I have one app registered, which is a web app. I can also have mobile apps or anything associated with this, but I want authentication to be checked in. Excuse me. So I'll just press get started over here. So this is going to create Firebase authentication. So I'll just enable this. I don't want passwordless sign in and all. So I'll enable this, and I'll add a new provider. I'll have Google Authentication too. Okay, so this is the project. Support email will be mine, and I'll just save it. So I can log in into this project auth provider using, since it's a Google, it is having, you don't need to provide Google API key and all of that because it is already a project, a Google Cloud Platform project, so you don't need to do that. In the future, I'll be also adding Twitter, but like, why not now? You know, Twitter app API. Oh, I don't know how we do that. I'll just go to provider, Twitter, enable. I need an API key and all. Yeah. To add this, let me go to learn more. Thank you, Firebase. Where do I need to do that? Oh yeah. You suck. You truly do. Okay. So I'll just come to application management, and yeah, this is my Twitter account. Do I have any apps? Yeah, I do. Wow, I do. Pro.screenrecorder app. What the hell is that app? Never did I ever use it. Okay, I'll just edit this. Okay, you can just create another app in the dashboard too. Okay, you can create a project and all that, but since I already have an app, I'll just edit it and I'll name it FavorKart. Okay, so save. Okay, I've saved it. So I have the app ID over here. I'm going to copy that. I'll come here, or wait, how do I Twitter API? I don't remember how to do this. I just don't want to waste so much time doing it. Okay, authentication methods. Firebase Twitter login. This is the best way to do it. If you're having any issues, you can just do it like that. Before you begin, yeah, register your app on the Twitter and get your app's Auth API key and API secret. And how do I do that? Yeah, FavorKart, app settings. Oh, not app settings. Wait, I think I know. Here I have keys and tokens. I came there. Yeah, API key and secret. Reveal API key hint. And I think I'll just generate a new thing. I have an API key. I'll come here. I'll paste it here. I have an API key secret. I'll come here. I'll paste it here. And I'll copy this callback. Yes, I saved them. And where am I going to add that callback? I don't remember. Shit. I should have. Does anyone know how to do this? In the comments. Oh yeah, here. So I have the callback URL over here. The website URL. Not going to give that. I'll just give that invalid website URL. Okay, I'll save it. So the callback is done too, and yeah, we can save it. So we have Twitter authentication enabled, Google authentication enabled, and email and password enabled. We also want to enable storage, but so let's just come here. We'll start in test mode. We can obviously shift it later. And I don't remember Firebase storage India location. Okay, so Cloud Firestore's location, these are the same as these. So if you see Mumbai or anything like that, yeah, I see Mumbai Asia South 1, so I'll have to choose that. Asia South, no, not that. Asia South 1, that's good. Done. It's good to have these servers as close as possible to you. All right. So it is creating a default bucket. I can also create a Firestore database, but I don't know if it is required already. Security rules, yeah, they suck. Trust me. Okay, so we have it configured over here, and in Firestore database, again I'm going to do the same. I'll come here, I'll create database in test mode. Location is Asia South 1, obviously, because we already used the same location for storage. It can't have multiple locations in the same project as long as we are in the no cost plan, Spark plan. If at all I'm going to introduce Firebase functions, I'll have to shift this to Blaze plan. Alright. Okay. I don't have any collection, sucker. Obviously you don't find anything. Okay. That's good. So now I can come to the project overview. I can go to settings, project settings. And when I come down here, you can see this web app registered over here. And I can just copy these details. Alright. So that is how you initialize the app using the Firebase version 9 SDK, the web modular SDK. That is what they call them. I don't know why. You can have .env.local file over here. And if you're prepending next public in here, so what are all the things that I have with me? Okay, I have API key, so I'll need API key. Okay, I don't need it anymore. Do I need auth domain? I don't know. Do I? I think I'll just store project ID. Project ID, which is this. Okay, so I don't need to do it anymore. And the auth domain and storage bucket and message sender ID and the app ID, I think I'll also do with the app ID. I don't know if I require that, but let us see. Why not? It's not going to hurt. Okay, so the storage bucket will be the Firebase project ID.appstore.com and auth domain will be project ID.firebaseapp.com. Cool. So I have these environment variables tucked in, and since I created environment variables, I'll have to stop my server and restart it. And before I do it, inside utils, let me create constants. It'll be now pretty similar to how we did it. So I have next public Firebase API key, and next public Firebase project ID, and I have app ID. Okay, so these are the constants that I'll be exposing. And now I'm going to create the Firebase client SDK, the instance of the Firebase client SDK. So it is just using the initialize app method that Firebase client SDK provides us with. So I can just come here, go to Firebase app, okay, and I have initialize app over there, okay. And this initialize app, it'll take API key, and that can be our next public API key, and it has auth domain, which is next public Firebase project ID. Of course, I'm getting that .firebaseapp.com. I have the database URL. I don't think I need that. I'll need an app ID. This, and I have project ID. Storage bucket. That's cool. So this is how you initialize an app, okay? But initialize app is not going to return anything to you. So the way to get the Firebase app that you have just created is by using the get app method that Firebase app gives you, okay? Okay, so what is it going to return? It is going to return a Firebase app, but I'll show you why I didn't do it that way, okay? Now, every time the server is reloading, a new Firebase app will be getting created, and you don't want that to happen, all right? So what we do is, we'll just get all the apps that we have, okay? And if the length is 0, only then we'll be going to initialize the app. If the length is not 0, that means there exists an app, and I'm just going to get that app into this in here, okay? So I'll export the auth object as getAuth, which takes in the Firebase app as the parameter, and getAuth will be coming from Firebase auth, okay? It's great, superb. So this is how, I think this is a pretty cool way to initialize your Firebase applications on the front-end apps. So we have initialize app. This will only be done if you don't have any other apps initialized in this project. So since it is 0, it will be initialized. If it is not, we'll get the default app that we are having, and we'll be creating an auth instance of Firebase using that. We can also export, not this, but get firestore method. We have that, okay. Firestore, it's great, right? And similarly, I can also do it for storage. Okay, that's good. So yeah, it is going to return storage and database and app and all of these, and that is how we do it. So we have a Firebase app installed, initialized in our project. All right. Now, for authentication purposes, I'll be having a contexts folder, and I'll have an auth context. So I can use Redux store or any other store for this, okay? I can, but I won't be using, because I think context API is pretty good in this, whatever we want to do here. I think context API serves the purpose. So how do we create a context? It's so simple. We use the create context method that React provides us with it, and that sucks so bad. We have React in there. We have create context in there, okay? So I want this to be accessible in multiple places, so I'll be exporting it, okay? Now I'll have to create a provider. It will be just a higher order function, okay? Auth context provider. I can also name it auth provider. I don't want verbose names, okay? And there'll be multiple props, but the most important one is the children prop, because that is what all higher order components take, right? They'll be rendering children props, okay? So this is how we roll it. Even this provider, I want it to be accessed elsewhere. So I'll be exporting it as default. So this is a named export, but this you can call it anything. So this context will have a provider field in it, and inside that provider we can give all the children, and this auth provider should be wrapping our app.js file. All right, it's great. So we have context, auth context, auth provider over there, and I have auth provider over here. That is excellent. Now, what are all the values that we want to ship in from here? All right. So obviously I want user value, and I can create a user value in here, right? Using the useState function. And initially, let us say it is null, and I'll have to import useState. It sucks. Oh boy, what happened here? I'll also have use effect, because anyways in the future I'll be having it. Okay, so that there is going to do that. Okay, I'll also have loading state, and I don't think I need to send that, but I'll be sending set user. And Firebase takes a minute or so to check if the user is logged in or not into your application. So this initially will be rendering unauthenticated UI to you, and only then it will be shifting towards the authenticated UI. So I just want to show this children only if the loading is false. All right, so only if the loading is false, the children will be displayed, or else nothing will be displayed. All right, now you might be wondering, where am I going to set the user and set the loading of all this and all. Now Firebase provides us with a very good auth state change handler. Okay, so it's an observer. It's more like the observer. Yeah, it's like an observer. It's a callback function that we can trigger it on whatever we want, and we can unsubscribe from that observer. So I'll be creating a use effect, and okay, so yeah, on auth state changed, but that is the old SDK that GitHub is hinting. The new one is coming from Firebase auth changed. Okay, and the first parameter will be the auth object that we have created in the Firebase library code that we have just written. Okay, and let me name it _user, because I already have a user in there, so I don't want any naming conflicts and all. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to set the user to that user variable, and I'm going to set loading to false. Okay, because initially loading will be true and it will be set to false, and since it's a side effect, we'll have to unsubscribe from that side effect. So use effect will be having a return function, and I can just call the unsubscribe method in the return function. Okay, you might be thinking, if I'm already setting the state over here based on the new user can be a user or a null based on if you're logging in or logging out. So set user will be again null or that. So even I can come here and have current user, or optionally null. So that is null coinstring operator over there. So we have unsubscribe. Now you might be thinking, why do I need set user in the value of the provider if I already am setting it in the auth state changed thing? I'll show you why we need this in a minute. So first things first, where am I going to use the context that I've created over here? So now this context, if I use the use context hook from React, I can have access to these variables over here. Whatever we pass in the value thing, that'll be accessible, right? Now I just don't want to use that use context hook and send in the auth context variable everywhere. So I'll create a custom hook. All right, so we have hooks, and inside hooks we have use auth.jsx. All right, so it's good. Now from React, I want use context, auth context, I'll be enabling from that. So what are all the things that I'll be having? I'm having the user and I have set user. All right, so these are the things that I have. Now I can return these, and wherever I use auth in my React components, I'll be having access to user and set user. But I don't want to give access to the components this set user function. So I'll be creating some wrapper functions around these So I'll be creating these wrapper functions around these register and all the methods that Firebase provides us, and I'll be going on with them. All right. So let me check if I have any new comments. Nope. That's good. So one function will be registered, obviously. So yeah, why don't we go with register first? Okay. So we have this method called sign in or create user with email and password that takes in the auth object as a first parameter, email as a second parameter, and password as a third parameter. And auth, I can give it to you from the Firebase library that we have just created. And this method, we can make it take the email and password as the parameters. Okay. Now this is going to return, if you await that method, this is going to return us the user object. All right. That is the Firebase user. So there is a Firebase user, and this Firebase user, we can set the user over here. Now this might sound dumb to you, because as soon as this method is completed, inside the context use effect, on auth state change will be triggered and the set user will be triggered, right? So I don't need to set it explicitly over here, but I am still doing it because I want to also grab the display name if it is a register function. All right. And we can only update display names using the update profile method that comes from Firebase auth, and I'll have to send the user over there. Okay. So this is the user that I'm sending. The update profile takes the user, and if you want to change the display name or the photo URL, okay, as of now I want to set the display name, so I'm using that. Now if at all I did not have a state re-render over here, this will set the state. That's fine, that's good, and because that will be called upon here, but the display name won't be set in the local state. It will be set in Firebase, but it won't be set in the local state over here. It won't be set in local the context of our. Since I'll be using this user variable which I'm returning over here in other components like header, the person who is logged in and all that. So obviously I'll need to know the complete details after the update profile operation. So even after update profile, I'm going to set the user again explicitly with the new credentials this time. Okay. So I'm going to set the user with that. That's good. All right. So instead of sending this, now I can send register, the plain register. Okay. That's cool. That really is cool. But this method, do we need to return anything? Do you think we need to do that? But I think I will. Okay. I'll have the user and arrow to null. Okay. Now since this is an async await operation, I'll just turn it into try catch. I'll log the error dot message over there, and I'll return not this, user to null and arrow to error dot message. All right. So that is when it is false. That means when we are having something wrong going on. But this is when the try is being successful. All right. So yeah, this is the pattern that we'll be following for all the other functions. For sign in, using Twitter, sign in using what do we call that? Google, and log out, and all of those too. All right. Yeah, that's great. Now let me create another function which is very similar to this. Just copy, come here, save it. I'll call it login. I don't need a display name because you don't want to enter a display name. And the method is sign in with sign in with email and password. Yeah, and I think I imported that from Firebase Auth. Okay, Auth, email and password, the same old song. I don't need to update the profile. I don't need to set the profile to, because I'm not updating the profile. That automatically will trigger this on auth state changed, and it will set the profile for me, and I'm going to return it. All right, so register, and another function is login. Okay, that is so cool. Now we have a tiny little function called logout. It is just going to call I don't need to call this, but sign out method will be taken from the Firebase auth package, and I'll be sending the auth instance as a first parameter, and I'll be awaiting it, and I'll be returning that function over here. Okay, so I have creation of user, login, logout, and all of that inside a custom hook. So whenever and wherever I want to, even I think you can even abstract these hooks, like use sign up, use login, use logout, and all of this, because wherever you're going to use this use auth hook, it is going to create all these functions again and again. So maybe that is fine if you're having the logout thing in the header of your, because maybe you're having a sign out page and you just want to create the logout function, recreate it again, but you don't want to recreate these functions again. That will be a not so good thing to do. So maybe we can change that too. Okay, so we'll look into that. I'm not sure if we'll be covering it. So let me check how much time has elapsed. All right, so we have a custom hook. And okay, you know what, I'll just create a header component and I'll just call it a wrap, or maybe no, I don't know, should I not? I have the Firebase SDK up and running. Let me see. I don't know, man. I can do it, but I don't know if I want to do it, because the time is 107 minutes, which is, oh boy, people are joining right now. It's been streaming from 2 hours. Yeah, that's true. I don't come out of my room often. I think people are joining right now because I opened my uh, WhatsApp after a long time and the broadcast message went just now. Till now I thought it did go, and that is why I'm having 2 viewers and 3 viewers, but it's been streaming from the past 2 hours and I'm already exhausted. I hate this so much, oh god. Yeah, by the way, it is not the skinny coder anymore. I shifted it to Rahul SriRam. The name, I shifted the name. Oh, shut up, asshole. Okay, so we have Okay, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. I will create a components directory and I'll just wrap it up. I'm so sorry. I created a WhatsApp broadcast and I thought I sent many people, and I did, but before even sending that message, I just closed my WhatsApp on my phone, and I've been streaming from the past 2 hours. And now when I came online, just to take some gap, and yeah, broadcast message did go to many people, and now people are joining. This is such a disaster. I hate this. Okay. Okay. What is PyScript K2? I don't know what PyScript is. I'll create a header component. Okay. I'll have a charka-ui box over here. Okay. Which is having an inset x set to 0. And the style top set to 0. And what more do we have? Insert top set to 0. Yeah, position. Can I have it sticky? Yeah, sticky, because I just want it to stick over there. I don't want background color and all that. I'm getting a lot of comments all of a sudden. I don't know how to handle all that, but that's fine. Z-index, I'll make it 10, and padding will be 5. Okay, so this is the wrapper of the header. Okay, now I'll be having a flex box inside that, whose justify now will be space between. Oh boy. Okay, and align will be center, and the max width I want it to be container large. Okay, these are all specific to charka-ui. If you don't know how to use that, just go through the documentation. And next link, in React Router DOM we have a link component, right? So but in here, in nextjs, we have next link. All right, and I want it to go over here. Obviously, nextjs links, they'll take an anchor tag inside them, but they don't need to have that hyperreference attribute assigned to that. We can add it over there. Okay, let me add a heading, and the color will be primary. I'll create medium, and I depend too much on GitHub Copilot and all these. I feel sick. So yeah, there's the name of our site, FavorKart. Cool, that's good. Picking up now. After the next link, this will be like the over here. So I'll have other links over here. So beside that, I'll have flex. So let me just check with the comments once. Oh boy. Okay, nothing useful. That's fine. So we have flex. This justify will be center. Line will be center. And I want to have a spacing between them, and I'll be giving 5 as a spacing. Okay, so it will be having login. No, not this. I'll be using a button component from charka-ui, and the variant will be outline, and I'll be rendering it as an anchor tag. That way, if I have to pass hyperreference over here, I can have it. and I don't have the next link anymore. And I have for sign up, I just don't want to call it sign up. I'll call it auth register, similar to here, auth login. I don't want a variant because I want it to be solid. Register. Okay, that's good. Now these are the links that I want in here. That's good. So this is the header component, and I will have a layouts directory with a main layout. Okay, so let me check how do I want this. Yeah, I think I know how I want this. Box is like a div in charka-ui. Instead of having a plain old div, you can use boxes. So yeah, that's that. So this box will have the same max width as the container large as the header, because I want them aligned. All right, and since this is a layout, since this is a layout, it will be taking in children, and I'll be rendering that children in here. Okay, and I'll have my header component rendered over there. Now I want the margin X to be in there, and yeah, that's it. That should do, I think. Let us see. Okay, so this is the main layout, and I want to wrap each and every page inside the main layout. So in nextjs we have this underscore app.js, and the component thing over here, I can wrap it like this. All right, so now let me go and check my okay, I think I'm not. Yeah, I think I should have some water. Thank you for just reminding me. I've been streaming from the past two hours and I do not have any water. Oh yeah, process is not defined. That sucks. And why is that so? Because I think I have process.env in my Firebase SDK. Come on, man. How do I do it now? I'll just do it like this. Okay, so I don't need API key. I don't need actually I don't need any of these. So the constants, I think I'll just delete. Yeah, there you go. So we have FavorKart over here, login and register buttons, and obviously they won't work as of now, but we will make them work. All right, so coming to the header, that this is the container large breakpoint, and this is the flex, the inner flex that we have been talking about, and this is the FavorKart other button. So if you see, the URL is the home button, and this will be auth/login, and this will be auth/register. Those are their separate pages, and they're completely different. All right, so I request everyone to just, if whoever is interested, to watch it from the beginning. There is a 2 hour long stream before this. I just forgot sending the message to all my friends on WhatsApp, so just check it out. All right. What more do we have? Yeah, inside charka-ui's theme, I want to create some semantic tokens too. So we'll just come here and go to utils theme. Okay, so this, if you remember, I added this primary color over there, and that will be available to me by using the brand colors 500. So yeah, so now this semantic tokens, I'll have to include it in here. Now I think you see I have that enabled over there, and it works like a charm. Now everything is in the teal theme because that is the default theme that I've given to charka-ui here with default color scheme with brand. So if I shift this color scheme to red for some reason, I don't know why I would do that. You can see it all goes to red. All right, it's pretty cool. charka-ui is just pretty cool. And you can see how I just on the fly created layouts and components like flexbox and justify and align and max width and margins and all of those. So I think it's really cool in that aspect. Now if you remember, I've had auth/login and auth/register as the links. So I'll come here, and as you know, nextjs is a file-based routing system. We have pages over here. I'll be creating the auth directory and login.jsx file. All right. So it is just a simple form in here. So it's the login page. So everything that comes under the pages directory will be the page. Okay. So let me give you an overview of how charka-ui handles forms by default and how I want to handle them. All right. So I'll just create a flexbox and I'll import it, and I'll call it a form. Okay, and I don't want to validate it. Now the my, I don't know if I need any my or all that bullcrap, but yeah, let us see. I'll have justify center, align center, and flex direction to be column. Okay, so this is the flex box. Let me check the comments, please. Oh boy, just ruining it there, right? It's fine. Thank you for attending. I should have sent that WhatsApp message long ago. I don't know why I didn't. Okay, I'll create a heading. Size will be 3XL. Login. Okay, just freaking do it already. And space X will be 1. And margin right will be auto. And you'll know why I'm doing it, because if you remember on other websites, you'll be seeing this very often. You see this don't have an account, do you need one? So they keep pestering us, asking that and all. So I want to link to the register page if that is the case. Okay, so I'll have IMP from next link, and I'll call it next link. All right, so the hyperreference will be /auth/register. That is not this page, that is a completely different page, and I'll have pass hyperreference over there, and I'll use charka-ui's the default link tag to get it. The font weight will be bolder than what we have, so it will be semi bold. All right, and the color will be primary. It's good. So it's register there. Thank you. Okay, it's asking me to use this apostrophe instead of that because HTML might get confused based on that. That's okay, it's fine. Now I just want huge padding in here. Okay, very big padding. And just after that flex under this heading, I want my email field in here. Okay, so I'll be creating a form control. Form control is from charka-ui, and it'll check if it is invalid or not and all of that. So I'll have form label, and label is email address, right? So how do I want this label to be? I want font weight to be semi-bold and color to be primary. Okay, so that is my form label, and then I'll have an input group. Okay, so input groups are just like input tags, but we can give many other options too. Like we can stack some buttons to the side of the input, like send now or submit now buttons and all of them. So I'll be having that input group, and inside that I'll be having an input. I'll need import input from charka-ui, and this input will be of the type email, of the placeholder example Elon just get rid of gmail.com. Okay, so this is what I want to have. I don't want autocomplete. I just hate autocomplete. I don't need a name attribute too. If it were remix, I just miss remix a lot. I wish it was remix. And yeah, this is it. So this is the form control. All right, all the error thing and all of those will be handled later. And just below the input group, I'll have form error message component. Even this is from charka-ui, and we're going to render some other thing over there. Okay, now let me close form control. I'll copy that, come here, create a password field, and add it there. Okay, so the type will be this, the form label is password. All right, and input group variant is that, and what more do we have? The type is password. We don't have a placeholder. Obviously we don't have autocomplete for passwords. I don't want a name, and the input group is done, and that's it. All right, so this is the password field, and later we have the submit button. All right, so this will be just a plain old normal button that I'll be importing from charka-ui. The type will be submit. I'll have to add submit over here because only then it will get the callback function of this, which is the on submit handler for that. If I don't have this, even if I click this, the form won't get submitted. Or I can have on click on here and forget about the handler for here. Okay, either way it's fine, but having it on there is it's good. Okay, so I'll have a large button over here, and we'll check if it is disabled or not in the future. Okay, so this is the form as of now. This is what we have. So let us check first what we have there. Let me go to Auth and log in. Yeah, sucks, I know. This is the ridiculous form that we have. So how can I just prettify it? How can I make it look good? I'll have shadow of 2 Excel. And what more can I have? Let me just check. In the don't want max width over here, but in the layout itself I'll have max width. Okay, so I already do have a max width. Okay, so I'll also have text align to center and the width to be full. Maybe this will help, I don't know. It does, but not pretty happy with it. So let's come here and inside the I'll add a space Y and now check it. Yeah, this is actually fine. I have a login and experimental space X1 and margin right auto. Okay, so let us see. I want this heading and this flexbox just before that email field. Okay, and I have this email field. Let me have my10. Am I missing anything else? God, this chat. Don't make me disable it now. Shit. Okay, so this is where we'll be involving React hook form. Okay, our first hook. That's good, right? So let us create hooks using this. So I have register and I don't want to confuse, so I'll just call this form register, and I have handle submit. From that I have errors. From that I think I need form state, and from inside form state I'll have errors. Okay, so this is how React hook form works. So I'll have to use this register thing everywhere. Okay, so let me come here, in here I'll use form register and I'll register the name. Okay, so the first field that I have is email. Okay, so it is required true and I want some message to be there. Value is true, and we'll have an email is required. Okay, and we have a pattern attribute. The value will be that. Thank you GitHub Copilot for that. And yeah, that is how we register the using React hook form. So if you want to do it by your own, you can create local state variables for email, some password and all, and you can add the on-change attributes for event.target.value for all these callbacks over here. But I think it will provide us with this, so I just like it like this. All right, so now I wrap this inside an input group and form control, because I can check if it is invalid by checking for errors.email. Okay, So that is how I check. Now if you remember, I have had this error message over here. So that is going to be errors that the React hook form is going to give us. It will be email and message. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Cool. Now we have password, right? Coming to password, similar here, is invalid. Errors.password. I'll come here. That will be that. And for the input, I'll have form register password. And is a password required? Obviously it is required. Value is true and a password is required. That's it. We did it. Now submitting of forms is quite a disaster in React hook form. So we do that using the on submit like any other thing, but instead of having handle submit like this, the data will be passed from handle submit to us, and I can call it submit handler or something and pass in that data. All right. Yeah, I think that's good. So where is the submit handler coming from? That will be an async function that I'm going to create. Okay, which will get email and password as the data, because that is what we are sending, right? Yeah, what's wrong? Okay, yeah. So the data that we are getting over here will be whatever we have registered in here. So that will be either email or password and all of these. Okay, so let me just see the comments. Okay, you know what, I'm just going to okay, I'm just hiding some comments that are really ugly and I don't want. Yeah, okay, I think I'm good now. Coming here, now we have a submit handler. All right, so I can just log this, right? And this button can be disabled. Is disabled when it is submitting, right? Or am I not? Yeah, when it is submitting, or when we have errors.email or errors.password. Okay, so let me check now. I'll just press login and you can see that is disabled, and an email is required and a password is required, obviously. Let me press F12 because you would want to see the console because I'm logging with them. So I'll have rsw@gmail.com and I'll have some password. And you can see those print it over here, right? That's great. I need to work on this form. I totally can see it. I seriously need to work on that form. Does that fix it? Nope, it doesn't. Line center, justify center. I have a lot going on here, but I don't know why it isn't working. But yeah, I'll come back with a now. What more do we have? Yeah, so since we have email and password, and I have created this custom hook called use auth, I can just call it, right? Okay, I think that is imported, and from that I can destructure the register method. And guess what that register method is going to take? It is going to take email and password, right? Absolutely. And it is going to return an error and the user to us. All right. Now we'll check if we have an error and there is no user and all. And I'll use the use toast hook from charka-ui to create toasts. Okay, so toast is the title is error, the description is error that we are getting, the status is error, duration is 3 seconds, is closable true, position not top right, I want it on the top. All right, else I want a toast with title success. You have successfully logged in, duration is closable true, top, and all that. Maybe I'll convert this into a custom hook. Okay, maybe I will. I don't know if I will, but I'll try. All right. Yeah. So what if it was successful? Okay. So what if it was successful? I'll also want the reset field from here, because after it is completed, after it is successful, I want to call reset. Okay, and I also want to push the user to the app/profile thing, and that push method comes from another hook called useRouter, which ships in from nextjs. It's like use location or use history for React Router DOM. And yeah, but I think we need to have that page, so I'll have app/profile.jsx. okay, this is a dummy page, I won't be having it in the future. So yeah, I think why don't we try it out? All right, I called in the register thing because that is what I want to do, but for register I think I'll have to pass in display name as the first parameter, so I'll be passing in empty string over there, and I'll change that to login. Okay, so it will be Rahul SriRam, and make sure I'm not console logging it anywhere. If I am, it's going to be a disaster. Yeah, I'm not. That's good. Come here. Okay, login, and yeah, you're now logged in, and I am at app profile. That is good. That really is good. Okay, now I'll get rid of those errors later. Now if you go to my Firebase console and shift the team to mine and click on go to console and go to FavorKart and come in here for authentication. You can see I am authenticated over here. Alright, so that's how we roll it. Cool. Now I want to go to the home page. I want to go to login and I have this both, right? Now I want to log in. I don't want to register, right? So I'll name, oh wait, the method that I'm extracting from here will be login, and it will be login, and it will be taking only email and password as the parameters. All right, I just want to create a user before login because you can't just log in without having an account, right? So I just had to do that, but this is the method to do that. All right, now can I copy it? I absolutely can. I'll just paste it over here. I'll rename it to register. Okay, so what do I have inside register? This is the login page. That is good, but what do I have in the register page, right? So in the register page, instead of this, we'll ask already have an account, then get lost to login. Okay, that's it. And there'll be another field, and I'll call that display name. So that is display name. So I don't need a pattern thing for that, but I want a min length of value of 4, and the message is display name must be a display name is required, right? Okay, that is cool. The type will be text. Example will be my name. Okay, the name of this field will be display name, and the arrows will be display name, and even here it will be display name, arrows dot display name, and this will be display name. That's good. Display name field. Now this will be register, and I'll just push it to profile. Of course, I'll be calling in register in here, and register in here, and here I'll have a display name that is being sent to me, and I can just pass it, right? You're now logged in. No, that is not what I wanted. You have successfully registered. That's good. Okay, now am I missing anything? Let me just check. I don't know. Let us see. I'll come here, I'll go to this register page, and I have display name, I have email ID, I have password, right? So I'll create some Elon Musk, and email will be elonmusk@gmail.com, and password will be that. And if I press this, you have successfully registered, and I am passed in over here. I can come here, I can just check. I have 2 users now, and that's great. But you're not having a conditional navbar, right? It'd be great if you had a conditional navbar, if you have login and registered only displayed if there is no user, right? but we can absolutely do that by using the use auth hook. We have the current logged in user, and we can go into header over here, and where am I just displaying that flex box? Yeah, these both, you see this, the next link to register and the next link to this. I'll just wrap it with a React fragment because I'll be doing something tricky over here. If the user is present, I'll render something. If the user is not present, I'll be render something. And obviously I'll be rendering these both if the user is not present, right? But what if the user is present, right? And now even where am I getting that user from? That is coming from the use auth hook, and I'm getting the user over there. I can also get log out. Okay, so if I just tidy up that and have a very similar button to this, it will be log out. It is not A, but on click I'll have the logout called. Okay, so this will check if I'm having a user existing already or not. And yeah, you see I have logout there. And yeah, we'll talk about having that in there. And I think I forgot to add Poppins font. Shit, that is the reason. That is the reason. So at font source Poppins, I'll just add it now. Okay, and inside my app.js, I'll have to add these 3 files. Those are the CSS files for the fonts to take place. Okay, and let us refresh. Oh yeah, we have Poppins font over there. That is good. That really is good. Okay, now what if I log in? What if I log out? If I log out, I have login and register again. Now let me log in with this Rahul SriRam writer, which is the first account. Now what is going to happen if I just log in? You can see that invalid email address, and if I take that, an email ID is required. But it is invalid because it doesn't have some domain name and dot after it. Okay, now since it is not invalid, it will just go away. Okay, now let us say I gave a wrong password. Okay, and I pressed login, and I get error wrong password, because that is the error that we are returning. And I'll have to check for that specific error and be like, you entered a wrong password, or maybe have that password taken over here. Maybe I'll be doing that in the next stream. And I log in, and I successfully logged in, and I redirected, and I have logout over here. Okay, so that is how we have a conditional nav bar. We have login and logout pages and everything. All right, now what else should we do? I did a lot actually today, like a lot. I didn't have to do it. Yeah, I think I'll just go with where is the header? That sucks to look. Yeah, it looks better now. Now I'll just go with the utility functions, which I'll be placing inside the hooks, layouts, and utils here. Functions.js. Okay, export isn't function. I'll just call it create token. That will take in a user. Okay, and it will create a token, and it will be get ID token, and the user will be passed. Okay, now I had JS cookies, if I remember. And I'll set a token. I'll name it token. The value is token, and it expires in 7 days, and same site will be lax. Okay, so this is it. Now let me check if I have JS cookie installed. Yeah, I do. That's good. Superb. So now you might be thinking, if I already have this token inside the getOID token function, and I can use this token to send to the MongoDB Express API that I've created before this Next.js app, and maybe I can give custom claims to that and get the role of the user and the specific products of that user and all. Why do we have to take this create token method and all? But if you observe, this is an async await operation, and every time I want to send the token, I don't want to call an async await operation, because I don't always want to have a use effect and wrap it with an await operation. All right. I'll also have another function, export function. No, not get token, but you know what? This will call remove, and I'll call this destroy token. Okay, so this is just using the cookies JS cookie library to get the ID token, the Firebase JWT that it identifies the user with. It has other fields like UID and all of those, and that token will be set in the name of cookie called token. It is not same side. You can also, you don't need to have this create token only. You can also use local storage. Local storage can also be used. Okay, so remember this. But I am using cookies. It's just personal preference. All right. Now, where do we call these functions? If you observe, I want to call these functions on every auth state change. But do I actually need to do that? I don't need to do that, because this auth state change will be called on every, for example, I'll just show you. I'll have hi over here, and I'll having issues with React. I don't know what's wrong with React, but just hates me so much. And I hate you too, React. I hate you too. Do I have React anywhere else? No, I don't. That's good. Okay, superb. No, what was I talking about? Yeah, I had that there, over there, right? So I'll come here. I'll just press F12. I'll go to console, and if I just refresh, you can see hi rendered twice. All right. If I go on logout, I'll get it again. Okay. And if I have a login event, I can have that. Okay. Yeah, I'll get rid of that hi and all that. So we don't want to have that. Okay, we don't want to have the cookies set on every state update. So that is why I won't be calling them over here, but I'll be calling them over here. Okay. Yeah, wait. Create token, and I'll send the newly created user, and that is the exact same thing I'll be doing over here too. Okay. Did I not return anything from here? That's bad. That really is bad. Oh yeah, I did. Wait, sorry. So I want to create the token over there, right? And I want to destroy the token over here. So I hope they came. And I'll go to application, cookies for this site. I'll just refresh and show you that there is nothing as of now. I'll come here, log in as Elon Musk, and I'll log in, and you can see the token being set. Okay. Now, whenever I want to send that ID token anywhere, like anywhere to the backend, maybe because you want to know which user is sending the request, right? It's like a JWT. So the token is just a JWT. Whenever you want to send that, you can come here. You can create an export function like this, and it will just return that function. All right. So that will be a string. Similarly, if I go in and log out, that is just going to destroy the token. Okay, if I refresh, you can't see the token. That's great. So yeah, so today we have discussed so much. If anybody missed it, because I haven't sent the link of the live video for so long, I completed this desktop api.favorkart.com, where we had different models for orders and products, and this is the MongoDB thing, and we have ExpressJS web server running, and we have multiple environments and prettier set over here too. And yeah, so this is what we did. And now for this API, for every request that I'm going to send, I'll have to send that token, and based on the token, it will be deciding which user is sending. That is known as authentication. And if the user is authenticated, if the token is available, only then we will be giving the resources to him, or else we'll be raising errors. And is the user an admin or a vendor or a customer? And that can be done using Firebase custom claims. All right. And I've been doing this. If you saw this update profile, create token, and all this, but here I'll also have to send an API request with this token, and that API request will be to /auth/register. Okay, so that is under not get all users, that will be under /all/users. That will be creating a user in the MongoDB database for me, and it will add the Firebase UID over there. So, and the default role will be set to something and all. Okay, I think I'll have to give it a default. Yeah, default is a customer. That's good. Yeah, that's it. So I'll be using Firebase custom claims in there, and I'll be installing today itself yarn add Firebase admin. Okay, so Firebase admin, I'm just adding it here today. I think it's been so long since I've been streaming, I better stop it right now. Yeah, I've been streaming from so long. 2 hours. That's good. So in the next stream, I'll be having Firebase admin SDK over there, and since we are having Firebase SDK, similarly I'll be having a library over here, Firebase admin SDK initialized over here. The service accounts and all those will be given, and using that I'll be checking for the custom claims and whether the user is authenticated, or if he's authenticated, how is he authenticated, and all the controllers and everything. So I'll be going on with that. Okay, so next video will be completely about the API building and the tokens being transferred from there to here and here to there and all of that. All right, so let me check. I'll just stop the server. Okay, so yeah, I hope it was good. I'll have severe backache if I don't stop now. So doing that too. Let me check in with not this. Yeah, not this too, but I have another one. Yeah, let me check in how I completed it. So I have, this is the first live stream of the FavorKart, which is our final year main project. It is a MERN stack application, but on the instead of a plain React application, I'm using nextjs because it has some pretty cool features. And for authentication and file storage and all, I'm going to use Firebase. And yeah, this is the FavorKart. Yeah, thank you in the comments. Thank you. This is the block diagram. We have an nextjs client, component library charka-ui, SWR, I did not install it yet, and animations, I'm not using it yet. State management, I did not have to use it yet. I'm just using plain old React context, and I implemented Auth on using hooks over here. So we've completed this part today, and we initialized this, and we created a MongoDB database that is not Postgres, that is MongoDB. Sorry for that. And via Mongoose we have connections, and I have all the models running on here. So tomorrow I'll be adding the authorization check and all the controllers and routes and all of them over here. And later on, after that is completed, we'll just go to there. So overview of FavorKart I did, basic Express API setup done, MongoDB Atlas done, nextjs done, Firebase and charka-ui done. Yeah, review models are done. Routes and controllers are not done. That would have taken an hour if I started it now, because I should have custom middleware and all of that. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.